The Real Estate Hour, the longest-running real estate talk show in the North Bay, heard every Sunday morning right here on KSRO for over 35 years. Hosted by Allison Norman and Stephanie Norman, local realtors with local real estate experience. The Norman Home Team. And now, here are Allison and Stephanie.
Good morning. Woo, we were almost in stereo. Good morning.
Sunday. It is freezing out there today.
It is cold, but we're not allowed to talk about how cold it is.
I guess it could be worse.
It's cold for us. It's cold for us. And thoughts are out there for all the people across the country, kind of the east side, middle, and then to the east that are just under just such extreme weather conditions and scary cold.
Yes.
Not to mention all the things going on, but we won't go there because we're not a political show. Anyway, but just, you know what, give yourself a little grace today. Everyone's kind of in there's a lot going on in the world today. It seems like every day. But anyway, we're going to try and keep it light and fun and talk about, well, we're going to talk about death and trust, but we will, we are going to have it's a really important topic, especially when it comes to your real estate. You're probably one of your biggest assets in your life, if you own real estate, is making sure it's in a trust, and really kind of what the difference is between trusts and probate, why it's so important. And we see it all the time if somebody passes and didn't have a trust, that it's such a different process trying to settle the estate and sell off the real estate than it is if they have the trust in place. And it's so anyway, we're excited to have Lon Lazar back. He'll be calling. He's called in a few times over the years. Really good. He's just kind of a calming force, I think, but a force as well, because he will fight for you. He is an attorney, but he has a really calm way about himself, and can really explain things nicely to people, and help you. And he's very passionate about kind of helping you protect those assets that you've worked so hard for, and trying to keep you out of court when it comes to having to settle an estate. So we've got a lot of great questions and conversations we're going to have with him coming up after the news. So from 9:30 10 o'clock, we'll be talking to Lon Lazar all about kind of trust, estate planning, all those things. What do we have before that? We
have the market update. We have some workshops we're doing that we want to talk about.
Those.
And we do have a big one for Norbar's 30 years and Mike Kelly.
Yeah, so I want to take a minute to talk about that. It was really a very nice surprise that we went to the 26th annual meeting 2026 annual meeting and installation for North Bay Association of Realtors, which we all affectionately call NORBAR. And, they highlighted the accomplishments of 2025, all the things. And if you don't know about NORBAR, it's North Bay Association of Realtors. We are the largest, I think it was like the largest trade group in the area, and just a really mighty force for protecting homeowner rights. So if anything ever comes up in legislature that is going to hurt homeowners, NORBAR is there fighting for you, the homeowners, and really homeowner rights and keeping all of that in check. And so they're a pretty mighty force. And it's actually also their 30th anniversary, 30th year as the North Bay Association of Realtors. Before that, it was the Sonoma County Association of Realtors, I believe. And there was a lot of little, smaller groups. And it was really kind of a nice surprise that Jeremy Olson, who is we've actually had on the show before for years, good friend of Mike's, and he got up there to kind of talk about NORBAR in the 30 years and had a nice picture of Mike Kelly there, and really talked about and reminded people that Mike was a huge influence in creating NORBAR and getting these smaller groups together and saying, let's make this bigger group so we can do more and be more effective. So it was really nice that they honored Mike Kelly. I looked up and there was a picture of Mike on the screen. I'm like, oh my gosh. And he was the first president of NORBAR back in 95 and 96. which is when Norbar was created. And then another good friend, Diana Gorziski, who was honored with the Member Services Award, first ever. And she has just been really involved in Norbar and with California Association of Realtors, CAR. All of that. Carol Lexa, Ross Liscombe, Chris Wunderlich, another 3 realtors that are really involved in stuff. So we're just a collective group of, we all work for our clients and support our clients and then in the community in other ways like we like to do, but also working together and supporting each other and lifting each other up. And so it was nice. It was a really nice event celebrating 30 years of Norbar. So, and Mike Kelly being really one of the driving forces behind that. And if you knew Mike, you know that.
Nice to hear his name and see his picture.
Yeah, and be recognized and honored, even though he's no longer here with us. He's still, especially the realtors that have been around for a while, really knew how important he was to the association and to the real estate community. And we hope that we have honored him by continuing on with the Real Estate Hour being not just community information, but education. I think Mike and I both agreed, and you as well, Stephanie, agree that, an educated public does better, and an educated community of realtors, too, because we have a lot of people in the industry that listen to the show and did also when Mike was here, and just to keep people informed and educated. And so hopefully we've honored him by.
It's a really big part of just being educated and informed as realtors and advocates in the community for real estate.
And making sure that, if you know more about the process, it's easier for us. It's easier for you. It works out better for both sides of the contract and all, and the negotiations and all that if you're informed. So we like to carry on Mike's work in that. But anyway, on that same point, we do have, if you go to our website, there's a calendar that we added to the front of our website, which is Norman Home Team. You can go just easiest normanhometeam.com. Or NormanHomeTeamWineCountry.com, but that's long, so we did the shortened version. NormanHomeTeam.com. We have a calendar of events, but we have our new Learning Series workshops, Norman Home Team Learning Series workshops. And on that same note of giving back to the community and educating the community, because if you're all educated, it makes it easier and not easier, but better, I think, to have people that are informed and know what and we're happy to teach you. And I think we both come from that kind of same idea of it, teaching people and advising people and all that. So we have coming up, we're excited to talk about that. We have a 1031 exchange workshop. So these are in-person workshops because I think it's time. Zoom is nice. It's something that's nice that came out of COVID, that we could sit at home in our pajamas and learn things. But really, I think it's time to get back out there. And we're in Santa Rosa. We're right on Mendocino over by Kaiser. So our offices, we're going to be having these workshops there for now. And 1031 exchange, avoiding capital gains. If you have some huge capital gains, which if you've owned your house, over the last 5 or 6 years, you do. This is really important to know kind of about 1031 exchange and ways that you can do an exchange. It doesn't just apply to an investment property. If you're in a primary residence, there are strategic ways to turn that into an investment property, make that transition, and then move into another property using that exchange. So it's really informative. Russell Marsan was here on the radio, and it's going to be in the evening on February 10th. And then also, you want to talk about our first-time buyer?
Yeah, we also have a first-time buyer workshop. Amanda Hagar is going to be there, and she is going to be tackling the roadblocks with real estate I cannot read this.
Is it too early in the morning? So Amanda Hagar was on the radio a few months ago, and we always recommend her to our first-time buyers.
Yeah, she's always on our list of lenders.
Yeah, and so So not to spend too much time on this, but really kind of homebuyer strategies.
Yeah, so she's going to be tackling the roadblocks with real strategies, learn and teaching us about down payment assistance, creative financing, building a plan for now or later, and it's going to be no pressure ever.
Yeah, and that's an important point. So that's February 24th, also in the evening. We're also working on putting together a reverse mortgage and reverse mortgage for purchase workshop as well. That might be on a Saturday afternoon. We're kind of playing around with time, and if you have an opinion, we'd love to hear about it. But you can go to our website, and it's right there front and center. You can click on workshops and events, and there's a calendar. When you click on the calendar, there is an Eventbrite link, so you can sign up. That's the best way to sign up because we can keep track of things there. If you don't like going on the internet, you don't like using Eventbrite, just give us a call or text 707-799-3617. We're happy to just put you on the list without you having to go through the hurdles of Eventbrite, which isn't that much of a hurdle. And people that use Eventbrite and understand it, it's an easy process. So anyway, that's what's coming up. And we also have a couple of we have a new listing coming up on Humboldt Street in the JC area with it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, but it also has a kind of a unique garage conversion that is a studio with a kitchen, quote unquote, and with a kitchen and bath. Kind of a guest unit, and we'll talk more about that as it comes on the market. We're looking for putting that on the market probably next week. Really nice property, and it's a great location, and very cool that it has that extra little space there.
We have time. I just wanted to throw in that it is a free in-person. All of our events are going to be free, our workshops.
Yes.
Free in-person, no pressure event.
Yeah, and all of them are, and that's the thank you for bringing that up because, I just did an online thing that sounded interesting and listened through, and it was interesting, but the last 15 minutes, they talked about their sale, what they're selling and the products and all these bonuses. If you sign up today, that is not what this is. Mm-hmm. This is absolutely 100% education-based community, giving back to people. And in the long run, it kind of helps us out because we're educating you and now you understand the processes. There will be a lender that you can talk to, obviously, if you want to get the ball rolling. And we're calling them workshops because we really think it's an opportunity for you to get started. But it's absolutely not a place where you have to be all, okay, I'm going to sign up for something, because that is not what we're about, and that's not what we're doing. We're very much just wanting to educate people and get it out there so people understand. If you decide you like us and you want to work with us, great. If not, hey, that's fine. We've hopefully provided some value. Anyway, we got to go take a break. We come back, we're going to take a look at the numbers, what happened in real estate this last week, and then stay tuned because Lon Lazar, attorney, trust and estate planning attorney, is going to be talking all about trust, estate, probate, all of the things that you need to know if you own a house, really, especially if you have assets, why they should be in a trust. So let's take a quick break, though. I'm Allison Norman.
I'm Stephanie Norman.
We are the Norman Home Team, and you're listening to the Real Estate Hour. We'll be right back. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Sunday.
Yeah,
I do think the sun is coming out. It's going to be a crisp and cool and beautiful day. We're actually heading out to our listing on Mark West Springs Road. That one, boy, the activity just really picked up. It goes to show, when we dropped the price a little bit, made some adjustments, and beginning of the year, I think it's a combination of both. Definitely. Beginning of the year, everyone's rambunctious and ready to go. The rates came down a little, although I think they bumped back up a little bit as well. But we've had a lot of showings and a lot of repeat showings. Can we come back and look again at this, or can we come just walk the property? It's 35 acres. So we actually are heading straight from here over to let somebody in there with their client, to let an agent in with their client to have a look around. So anyway, beautiful day for that. It's so pretty out there right now. And that is our listing. I'll just throw it out there. 18. Well, if you look at it, it's either 22 acres, 1860 Mark West Springs Road, or 35 acres, which is the two parcels. It's 13 acres plus 22 acres, and that's 1960 Mark West Springs Road. $1,350,000 for the 35 acres with the 2-bedroom, 2-bath home. There's 2 wells on the 2 parcels together. There's a 4-bedroom septic system, an old 5-bedroom perk on the other parcel. $595 if you just want to buy the unbuilt, undeveloped with a well. Old septic perk, 22 acres. That one's $595. So throwing that out there. Let us know if you have any interest in that. Like I said, we've got a lot of activity on that one. So let's take a look. So speaking of the market, we're going to talk about the market and what happened in real estate this last week. So Stephanie has the what happened in real estate last week. I've got what currently is going on in the entire market. All of Sonoma County, and we're looking at single-family homes, condos, mobile homes, multi-units, and land, buildable residential land. We take a look at that every week, so you can kind of keep an eye on what's going on. And just a big reminder that we look at local numbers. It's a broad look at all of Sonoma County. So if we narrow it down to different neighborhoods, different cities, locations, it's going to be different. But it's also going to be very different than what you hear for Bay Area or even just North Bay. And national especially, and even California, because, you know, we've got the Central Valley, we've got Los Angeles, Palm Springs, you know, we've got all the, you know, all the different price points. So listen to it if you want to know what's happening in the world, you know, but if you really want to know what's happening in the market, listen to our Sonoma County update. And then if you need to know what's happening in your specific neighborhood and what your house value, what values are doing in your neighborhood, we can do that for you, and we can do that personalized to you.
That's a big one.
Yeah. So, okay. So taking a look, diving in, the single family residential, all of Sonoma County, active right now, currently on the market. You could put an offer in and you could buy that home. There's 484 active right now. To put that into context, it's kind of the same as it has been, but even just back in November, it was 770. Before that, November 16th on here, there were 855. So definitely lower inventory. It's normal. Expect to start seeing that number go up really fast as we head past the Super Bowl. Is really kind of that trigger point to where people go, okay, it's spring, let's put our house on the market. So 484 now. Stay tuned, and we'll let you know, because that's going to go up, and hopefully, because there are buyers itching to buy something right now. $1,179,000 is the median price of what's currently active on the market. That is a very different number than the sold median. So when you hear the sold the median in the news usually is sold. In escrow, there are 208 in escrow. That number is also a little low, but it's really because there's not inventory. We need more inventory. $829,000 is the median price of what went into escrow. So condos, there are 86 active on the market. In escrow, there are 37. Those are condos and townhouses. They're 2 separate on the MLS, but we combine them together because they're very similar. And I really think they used to be in their own group together. Yeah. Mobile homes in a park. There are 71 active mobile homes and 24 in escrow. Multi-units, we're looking at 2 to 4 units, whether they're a duplex, triplex, fourplex, or multiple houses on one property. They all fit into that same category. Multi-unit, 2 to 4 units. And there are 85 active on the market with 19 in escrow. And then land, we look at buildable residential land, and lots and land. So whether it's in town, a lot maybe in Coffee Park left over from, that's still available after the fires, or, acreage like our Mark West Springs, 1860 Mark West Springs. Those fit in both 2 different categories, lots or land and buildable residential. There's a lot of other categories like commercial, industrial, ag, other. Yeah. We're looking just at buildable land for residential. So there are 257 active on the market there, and 34 in escrow. That's very normal that there's that big, huge difference because land just is harder to sell. And we've got that number has really come down. It was over 300, so now it's 257. Anyway, let's wrap that up, and Stephanie's going to talk about that before we go to a break.
I have the hot sheet for Sonoma County single-family residential from last Sunday to this Sunday. New listings are 70 with an average median list price of $849,000. Back on market 10. Price reduction 33. In escrow 55. Pending 26. and closed also 26 with a median average sold price of $773,000 with an average 78 days on the market. And congratulations to all of you who either bought or sold a home. Woohoo! And all those involved. It was a lot of work, and you did it.
Yay.
Yay.
And it's really congrats to both the people that bought a home, the people that sold the home, the realtors that
everyone in the background
got it all, helped get it done, the title company, the lenders, the loan processor, the underwriter, the appraiser. I mean, there's so many, all of our inspectors that we have to have come out and take a look at these properties. It's a lot.
It's a lot. So
and
congratulations,
it's a lot. Yeah, and
everybody.
it's a bit of a disruption for the families, especially if you're a seller and you live there. It's a lot. It's and we recognize that and congratulate you for not only getting it, being done, you moved on to your next adventure, or you bought a house, you're going to move in, but really for making it through the process, right? Yes. It's a lot. And
it really is,
so when we say congratulations, we absolutely mean it. It's just, as a buyer, I mean, I still remember when I closed escrow on my first home that I still live in, it's the feeling of it is, we carry that. I carry that with me through every transaction, and and even selling. I've bought and sold investment properties. Even then, it's like, oh yay, we did it, and now we're moving on to this other thing. So anyway, we're right there with you.
And I just wanted to mention, if you missed those numbers, we will have them on our Facebook page, The Real Estate Hour with Allison and Stephanie Norman. I put them all together, and I try to post them same day. I've been pretty good about it. So,
no. And it's good. And I know we throw a lot of numbers out. So being able to see it, I'm a really visual person, so it's also helpful. Yeah. So our Facebook page is the Norman Home. I'm sorry, that's not it. Well, there is a Facebook page. We do have multiple Facebook pages, but where we post the numbers is the Real Estate Hour with Allison and Stephanie Norman. We've also posted all of our events that are coming up. But like I said, if you go to our website, Norman Home Team, winecountry.com. If you scroll down a tiny bit, there's a big square right there that says workshops and events. I've also added our upcoming, we've got today the radio show with Lon Lazar, February 1st. We have somebody coming on to talk about reverse mortgage. And as we line up different guests on our show and also different workshops, and we're planning on doing a few a month. And like I said, probably Tuesday evening and maybe Saturday late morning in 11 o'clock, somewhere around there. And we'll see how it goes. Hopefully people will be as excited as we are. And we're also going to feed you. We're going to feed you if you come, because, as the saying goes, if you feed them, they will come. So if all of the excitement and energy of an in-person workshop doesn't do it for you, maybe the food will, and then you'll see, wow, this is cool. Anyway, we're going to take a break. We come back. We're going to have Lon Lazar, estate and trust attorney. I'm Allison Norman.
I'm Stephanie Norman.
We are the Norman Home Team. You're listening to the Real Estate Hour. We'll be right back.
Good morning. We are back, and we have Lon Lazar on the line.
You have a quick intro?
I do.
Okay.
So Lon Lazar is a trust and estate planning attorney based in Forestville, serving all of Sonoma, Napa, and Marin counties, with clients throughout the Bay Area and beyond. Lon's practice is focused on helping families secure and protect their hard-won assets and provide for their legacy wishes with the least amount of court involvement possible.
Woohoo! We like that. Welcome, Lon Lazar.
Welcome. Thanks for calling in.
Are you there on the line?
I am on the line. Thanks for having me here today.
Absolutely. We're excited to
talk
about trust and probate. Actually, I talk about it a lot. I think we talk about it a lot just as realtors every time we're, with a new client, especially if they own a house, and it's a seller, it's, do you have your property in a trust, and so it comes up a lot. But we're really happy to have you on the line today to really kind of talk in more, we're going to talk generally what is a trust, but also kind of why a trust and why is it important. And when you say, protecting assets and legacy wishes and least amount of court time in your intro, what does that really mean? So anyway, so thanks for calling in. Yeah. So do you want to just dive right in with the basics and kind of Real Estate and Trust 101. And what is a trust, and what are the different types of trusts?
Well, there are many different types of trusts. The trust that most people think about and most people use is what's called a revocable living trust. And it's a legal document that allows assets to be passed without the intervention of the probate court. It's a private document that's administered by a person called a trustee, and the trustee gains the control of all of the assets of someone who has died and passes the title to those assets to the people that are identified in the trust as the people that are supposed to get the assets when the decedent has passed. And if you don't have a trust, or you don't have let me stop right there. If you don't have a trust, your assets are going to go through probate. They're going to be handled by the probate court. The process is going to be overseen by a judge. And that whole thing can take more than a year, depending on if people are fighting about things. It can take up to several years. It's expensive, and it's frustrating for everyone involved, including the attorneys.
Yeah, it's a lot. We've seen that firsthand as well. On the real estate side of things, if somebody has a trust versus if they have to go through probate, the process is so drastically different on the real estate side. So,
on the real estate side, if you're going through probate, I mean, you can have a buyer that has made, an offer that the executor of the estate thinks is a fine offer, and in the hearing at the courtroom, the judge can open it up to auction, and the buyer who thought they were going to be buying a property for a certain dollar amount is all of a sudden bidding against other people in the courtroom to try to keep the property that they thought they were going to be able to buy.
Yeah.
It's a wild experience.
It is. I've done that once. I've been to one. Mike and I had a property in Calistoga that was commercial, live work kind of property, and the family thought they were going to buy it. It was a conserved. The person was conserved, and oh my gosh, it was And so there were other people in there. It was a really interesting experience to see the bidding
other
process.
thing that's really I think important to mention here about having a trust is that if you have your property in a trust and it's managed by the trustee and passed to the heirs through the directions in the trust, that's a private process. If you're in probate, it's completely open to the public. All of the filings, all of the hearings, everything is a public matter. And so for people who have any kind of concerns at all about their privacy, having a trust is of utmost importance, because I always like to tell the story of Michael Jackson, who many people will remember at one time was one of the most famous people in the world, and died suddenly and had a very, very large estate. And he had actually paid an attorney down in L.A. to draft a trust for him, but he never put any of his assets in the trust. So all of his estate had to go through probate court down in Los Angeles County. You can go today to the Los Angeles County website and look at all of the people fighting about Michael Jackson's assets.
Oh no,
that's horrible.
Yeah, and that's a really good point to bring up is the privacy part of it. And I forget. I know years ago you and I talked about that, and I was I hadn't really thought of it that way. And in my world, it's just like it's easier to sell your house, sell the house, but the protections that it gives you are huge, and it's so important. And then making sure you put the things in the trust.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That is a big one. Yeah. So what? So what? When you put in, I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but speaking of putting things into the trust, so you create a trust for someone, and it's just a like a bucket to put things in. I know that's in very simple terms, but I shouldn't say that. There's more to it. What exactly is it? Besides the fact that you have to fund a trust by putting things in there, is there other protections that it offers someone while they're alive, or is it really only for when somebody passes away and it transfers?
What it actually offers you while you're alive is flexibility. you retain control of the assets in a revocable living trust, which is by far the most common kind of trust. There are irrevocable trusts that people use to, if they have a very large estate and they can take some of their assets and put them into an irrevocable trust to reduce the value of their estate to avoid estate taxes when you die. And you lose control of you lose control of those assets. But for the vast majority of people, you have a revocable living trust while you're alive. Every asset in there is available to you to whatever you need. If you need to sell some assets to pay for, in-home care as you age, or if you just want to go take a vacation and you're feeling like I don't have enough cash, in the bank to do that, you can take your asset out of the trust, sell it, and do whatever you want. So putting it into a trust doesn't restrict your ability to use those assets as collateral for getting a loan or to start a business or anything like that. So flexibility, I think, is one of the most important things. There's a certain amount of protection from liability that a trust offers. It's not ironclad. If you, unfortunately have a car accident, for example, and the insurance limits are not enough to cover the damages of the person, and it's your fault, and somebody gets hurt or somebody gets killed, and you get a big judgment, your assets in the trust cannot be accessed by the creditor until those assets are going to be distributed to a beneficiary. So as long as you leave them in the trust and you don't try to distribute them to anyone, they're protected. And so a lot of times liability like that can be negotiated down.
And that's if it's even if it's in a revocable trust?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, the creditor can get what's called a charging order that prevents that asset from being distributed out of the trust without first paying off the debt.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But if you're not going to be distributing the asset anytime soon, then that creditor has to say, all right, well, am I willing to sit around and wait for how long? 3, 5, 10, 15, 25 years? Okay, well, let's negotiate. I'd rather take $100,000 now than sit around and wait for $700,000 later.
Yeah. There's a lot, and I think that's why somebody should sit down with an estate planning attorney.
That's a pretty complicated situation, and of course everybody's circumstances are unique, and that's why, not to toot my own horn here, but that's why to talk to an attorney before they make any big decisions.
Yeah. We'll toot your horn for you. We think you're a good person to talk to.
After somebody dies, what would happen if they forgot to put something in the trust? Can anything be done afterwards, or is it just?
Are they out of luck?
Out of luck.
Yeah. There's a section in the probate code, section 850. That basically says if you create a trust and you say that you want to put a particular piece of or particular asset into that trust, but you either forget or neglect or fail in some way to change the title to that asset into the name of the trustee, there's a petition that you can file with the probate court, which is short of a full-blown probate petition. It's called a Hegstead petition under Probate Code Section 850, and it's really just paperwork. You just prove to the judge that the trust existed, that there was an intention to put an asset into the trust, and that the title just never got funded. And it's kind of a rubber stamp process.
Okay. And is it kind of happen? Do they approve it all the time, or are there times when they say, nope, too bad, you're out of luck?
Well, you have
in your experience,
you have to show that the trust was a valid trust, that it was in existence. You have to show that the asset was mentioned in the trust as a
got it. Okay.
A particular thing. and you have to show that the grantor, or the creator of the trust, intended for all of their assets to be in the trust.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a lot. We got a lot to dive through, but we're gonna take a quick break. Yeah, if you don't mind, hold on the line for 30 seconds.
Oh,
we're gonna
sure.
take a
Absolutely.
necessary
No,
quick little break.
Michelle.
Yeah, and then I want to dive into kind of there's a couple of different workarounds of probate that are like the transfer on death deed and things like that. And I don't know if it's a workaround, but let's talk about that. But also some recent changes in that threshold and when in the state of California you have to go through probate if you don't have a trust. So let's talk about all that. We've got Lon Lazar on the line, trust and estate planning attorney. And we're going to take a quick break. I'm Allison Norman.
I'm Stephanie Norman.
We are the Norman Home Team, and you're listening to the Real Estate Hour. We'll be right back. Good morning. We're back. It is the Real Estate Hour. Happy Sunday morning. And we are talking all about trusts and how to avoid probate, how to protect those hard-won assets that you've worked hard for all your life. You want to maybe transfer them over, pass them on to your loved ones and leave your legacy, and how to avoid going through probate. I've talked to a lot of people that have, we didn't really mention it, I don't have it in my notes here, but if you have properties in multiple states and you don't have a trust, you don't have the properties in the trust, the probate, we're talking with Lon Lazar, and this is for you, Lon. It's a question for you, and thanks again, and welcome back. But does the probate have to be done in each state, or is it by like county? How does that work?
If you have multiple properties in multiple states and you don't have a trust, you have to do a probate in each county where the properties are located.
What's the county? Wow. Okay, so that's a really good reason. If you're going to be investing in real estate, have multiple properties, put them in a trust. Have them in a trust.
Definitely.
So I mentioned before we went on break some other things. One question I have, or really kind of just want to put it out there, is we hear a lot of times people go, "Oh, I don't need a trust because I have a power of attorney, or my daughter has a power of attorney," and I always have to say, okay, well, the power of attorney isn't going to help you once the person dies. Is that an accurate statement?
That's 100% accurate statement. The power of attorney is only valid during the life of the what's called the principal, which is the person who gives their power of attorney to a third party.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. And yeah. So I mean, I hear people say that. Oh, it's okay. We have a power of attorney. It's like, okay, well, once you die, that's not valid anymore. So it's really important to have that trust. But let's kind of before we went on break, I mentioned some like other things that people think is going to work just as well as the trust, and maybe they don't want to spend the money to do it, it's well worth the money in my opinion. But Stephanie, you had a question about.
Yeah. So what is the threshold dollar amount of assets that trigger probate, and the availability of a streamlined probate?
Yeah. So that was and I'm sorry I jumped ahead on. I had another question too, but that's okay. But really, I think it's an important time to talk about that, because we're talking about probate, and there's a number that triggers that.
Yeah.
So what is that?
Yeah.
Is it new?
So it's not new. It's been around for a long time, and it changes from time to time.
Okay.
And there's a couple of different things that can be done short of a full-blown probate process. I tell people that if you have assets, real estate and liquid assets that are in excess of $185,000, and you're going to go to probate.
Okay.
If you don't have a trust.
Right. Okay. And
there are other numbers that are smaller than that. If it's just a piece of real estate of small value, under $62,000, I think it is, then that can be done with pretty much just paperwork. It does go through the probate court, but it's not a full-blown probate.
Okay, so that would be more like a streamline. And when you're talking about the assets, is it just like what you have in equity in the home, or is it what the home is worth?
It's what the home is worth.
Okay, and that's an important distinction, I think, is
Yeah.
because nobody in Sonoma County has a home worth $185,000. So I would say, well, I shouldn't say nobody, but yeah, that'd be hard to find. If you have that, I want some of it.
Or they could have a partial interest. Right?
Oh, good point. Okay.
There are sometimes multiple people on deeds.
Yeah, we are seeing that. We actually just talked about that last week on the show, is buying real estate together, and a TIC or tenant in common situation. So that's a good point. Yep. Okay, so I mean, really, the ultimate thing is to avoid going to probate, and the other thing that California, like maybe, I don't know, it's been a while, maybe 6 or 7, 8 years ago, I don't know, time flies, but the California came out with a transfer on death deed. It's like a really scary, simple document that says, here, if I die, this person gets this house. I think it scares me because it's so easy to put it in front of somebody and say, here, sign this. What are you familiar with that, and what are your thoughts on that? Does that avoid probate?
In a perfect world, it does avoid probate. In a perfect world, the title company has no problem with it. In a perfect world, nobody is going to challenge it as having been executed under duress. There's a lot of ways in which the transfer on death deed can make things more complicated than they need to be. But it is a real convenient way for people to transfer title to a house. And I don't have any sort of magic bullet to shoot it down as, no, you should never do transfer on death deed. But you really want to consider what the bigger picture looks like. How many people are in your family? How many people who might, challenge this? Because it can be challenged by anyone. Mm-hmm. I have not personally had a sale fall apart because of it, but I know that title companies are very, very particular about making sure that they're not writing title insurance on a piece of property that they're not 1,000% sure is being passed in a proper manner.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, and they may be a cloud on title. They really are going to want to make sure nobody else is going to step forward and say, "Hey, I didn't agree to this." Exactly. And then also, I think with that's for that specific property. So if you have like other properties that didn't have that transfer on death deed, then you're still dealing with the probate. Or if you have other assets, and it's not just real estate, right? What are some other things that would go into a trust? Well,
some people, for example, retirement accounts, 401ks and IRAs, insurance plans, those things all have designated beneficiaries. And they can pass outside of a trust, and they can pass outside of probate. Some people, though, take their retirement accounts and their insurance plans, and they name their trustee the beneficiary, so that those assets pour into the trust and get distributed according to the trust. Oh,
that's a good idea. Yeah. And then
those are some assets that people can or sometimes choose not to put in a trust. But if you have a bank account or an investment account at Schwab or Fidelity, or if you have restricted stock units in say you work for a startup company and they gave you 50,000 shares of something that once upon a time was worth 2 cents and now it's worth $25. That stuff all should be in a trust if you have a trust. Bitcoin, safety deposit boxes,
good point.
gold bricks, anything.
All the things,
anything of any value.
And it's basically naming it, so the trust becomes the owner of those things. Is that a good way to put it?
The trustee.
The trustee is the owner of the items. Okay. And that adds a lot of protection. And then I think another good thing, is that you really can spell out in a trust what your wishes are and how you want the things in the trust to be managed. Is that different than just in a will, or is it kind of the same thing where you're just saying what your wishes are?
Well, a lot of times what people do is that in their will, they create what's called a testamentary trust. So let's say you have an asset that you want to go to a person who happens to be a minor when the asset is supposed to go to them. In the will, you could say if little Billy is not 21 years old, then my executor will hold the asset in trust for little Billy until he turns 21.
Oh, okay.
So that.
Yeah, so
that's what's called a testamentary trust.
Okay.
But yes, the short answer to your question is, in a real trust, in a full-blown trust, you can get as detailed as you want about how a distribution is going to be done and what are the circumstances under which the beneficiary becomes entitled to what is being passed to them. There's all kinds of different ways that people can really micromanage from beyond the grave what's happening, to their assets.
Right. I think that's a really important way of putting it. So before we run out of time, I want to make sure people know how to get a hold of you if they want to ask you more questions and really kind of sit down and go over maybe, put together a trust or see what that looks like for them or all of that good stuff. So how would somebody get a hold of you?
I'm conveniently located in the wonderful little town of Forestville here in West County.
Yeah.
And my website is Lazar Legal, all one word, LazarLegal.com.
Perfect.
I've got a lot of information on the website about the kinds of work that I do, and there's a contact form where people can reach out to me. And, I'm happy to talk to anybody and answer questions, and I always give people a 15-minute free consultation, and just really like to help families make sure that their affairs are in order and that they can sort of sleep better at night.
Right. I think it's good. And somebody once called it, like the final gift you leave your family is having this all in order. And I know it sure helped when my mom passed away because she had a very detailed
trust. It really
trust.
is a love letter to the people that you love.
All right, well, we're going to wrap it up. Joe's giving me the signal, so we're going to hear the music in a minute. But anyway, Lon, thank you so much for calling in and really kind of clarifying what is a trust and how important.
Stephanie, thank you both for having me on here today, and hope to see you around.
Yes, we'll talk soon. Thank you so much, Lon. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. If you guys have additional questions, give Lon a call. That phone number was 415- did he give out the phone number? Go to LazarLegal.com. I'm Allison Norman.
I'm Stephanie Norman.
And, you can go to our Facebook page, The Real Estate Hour with Allison and Stephanie Norman. We're always on YouTube. It's Sonoma County Real Estate Hour on YouTube. What do you got?
Facebook, The Real Estate Hour, Allison and Stephanie Norman. You can find us there. You can find us on KSRO under Ask the Expert.
And go to our website, NormanHometeam.com. All right, have a great day. You've been listening to The Real Estate Hour.
You are my candy girl.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Hour with Allison and Stephanie Norman. The Norman Home Team on KSRO. Join them every Sunday morning at 9. From tips on buying and selling your home to North Bay market updates. Sonoma County real estate market knowledge from real estate professionals. You can reach Allison and Stephanie anytime. Call or text 707-799-3617. DRE license numbers 017-20334 and 022-09237. The Real Estate Hour with Allison Norman and Stephanie Norman. Sunday mornings at 9 on KSRO and KSRO.com.